All right. Hello, everybody. KVU Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with an update on our forecast. Give me a second there, waiting for our animation to play out. This is our nightly KVU Plus extended update on the forecast. Again, we do this every single night here at about 7 o'clock. We take 15, 20 minutes or however long it takes, and we go through the details of the forecast, whether it's a quiet forecast or something like this, which has a million different moving pieces. Obviously, today was freezing cold here across central Texas. Temperatures barely warmed up. We dropped down to 20 this morning in Austin. Cloud cover stuck with us all day long, and still we have this cloud cover this evening. That locked temperatures in the 20s. The high today in Austin was only 29. Tonight, still some clouds now, but late this evening into the early overnight, this cloud cover is going to start to break up. So with a clear sky and still this brisk wind tonight, temperatures really are going to drop. This is going to be our coldest weather of the winter that we have in the forecast tonight. I have 18 degrees in the forecast tonight in Austin. So y'all know the drill. We will take some time. We'll go through all aspects of this forecast, and speaking of all aspects of this forecast, increasingly it looks like we might have some freezing rain to track as we get later into this week. That potential is going to be Friday night into Saturday morning. We'll talk about that coming up here in a second. We'll take things one day at a time with this type of forecast pattern. Coldest air of the winter. It's in the forecast tonight into tomorrow morning. Air temperatures in the teens for just about everybody. Some will stay in the low 20s for our far southeastern areas. Single-digit wind chills in the forecast area-wide tomorrow morning. Dangerous wind chills. We didn't get above freezing today, so hopefully you're still doing this, but keep protecting the 4 Ps, people, pets, pipes, and plants. Definitely the type of weather. I've got this going at my apartment right now. Make sure you are dripping an indoor faucet with these type of temperatures. Tonight, and this is not just us here in Central Texas, for like the vast majority of the entire state, an extreme cold warning is in effect. Not something that we see every day. This goes through noon on Thursday. Dangerous wind chills as cold as 2 below will be possible. You read that correctly. 2 below for the wind chill. So we had lower single digits. I believe that Llano briefly had a 0-degree wind chill earlier this morning. Could be even colder for parts of the hill country as we go late tonight into tomorrow morning. I'll show you the current conditions here in a second. So here's my updated forecast for tonight. Again, as you go Bastrop into the coastal plains, could it be a smidge warmer? Low 20s. Look, still that's serious cold, hard freeze. 18 in Austin. We'll talk more about the metro here in a second. These numbers in the hill country. Still, we're hanging on to some cloud cover. It would not surprise me if some of these locations west of 281, if the sky clears a little bit more quickly, if maybe 15, 16, 16, maybe those numbers are still a little warm for some of those areas. That's the type of cold that we are dealing with tonight. Here's a closer look at the I-35 corridor. Buda, I've got you at 19 tonight. Kyle, San Marcos, about 20. Wimberley, Dripping Springs, about 19. Lakeway, 19. Laga Vista, 17 degrees. Georgetown, 17. Leander, Round Rock, Taylor, about 19 degrees. It is going to be cold all across Central Texas tonight. We talked about this last night in our live stream, but one of the things that's a little bit different compared to the big cold snap that we had back in January, the air temperatures we're a little bit colder this go round, but they're relatively similar. But these wind chills are much, much colder than anything that we have seen this winter. I have widespread single-digit wind chills in the forecast for your Thursday morning. Again, the way this map works, it takes the minimum wind chill through the overnight period, through the morning period. So it's not that the wind chills will necessarily be these numbers at any exact point. This is the minimum for each location. 9 in Bastrop, 9 in Giddings, 11 LaGrange and Schulenburg, 6 in Austin, 5 in Blanco, Fredericksburg, 4, especially out here in the hill country. I hate to say it. I think these model projections might be a little warm. I think it could be even colder than this. Again, lower single digits, maybe even briefly below 0 for the feels like temperatures. So we never want to scare anybody, but it really is the type of weather. Look, if you're outside for an extended stretch and you don't have the right clothes on or you're not prepared, it's dangerous. So just make sure we continue to use common sense and, take care of our folks with this type of cold in the forecast. All right, so we'll get back into the forecast here in a second. I want to show you the almanac data today, and then we'll go through some of the current conditions. Low this morning at the airport was 21. The low at Mabry was 20. That is a record low temperature. And by the way, look at that. We know it was happening this time, 2021. So not every day you knock off a record from February 2021 in the cold department. Then the high temperature was 30 at the airport today. The high temperature was 29 at Mabry. That 29 was also a record low maximum temperatures. So we set all sorts of cold weather records today. Here's a look at the low temperatures area wide. Again, we had some 15s and 16s in the hill country. 16 was the low in Llano. Burnett dropped down to 16. Georgetown 18, 19 in Taylor. Fredericksburg 15. These numbers in the hill country, full transparency, we did have in the forecast. These numbers in the metro and east, we did not. You know, we thought it would probably be more so mid upper 20s. I think I had like 24 in the forecast for Austin by the 10 o'clock last night. Obviously, we went down way below that. And then especially down here into the coastal plains, I did not think it would be that cold. But 21 this morning in Giddings and 22 in LaGrange. This cold front, it was strong and it overachieved and it continues to do so. So where do we stand right now? Here are the current numbers as we are doing this live at 7:08 on this, what is today? Wednesday evening. It is 25 in Austin right now. It's 23 in Georgetown, 24 in Bastrop, 25 in LaGrange. Giddings is at 24, Luling, San Marcos 27. Parts of the hill country actually got a little sun today, so that warmed them up very slightly, but I think literally everybody stayed below freezing all day today, so an extended freeze. 25 in Blanco, Johnson City, 24 degrees. Now, as we go to this evening, we're going to talk about some of these ingredients. One of the things that we're watching, still this cloud cover is being stuck. I mean, still this evening, we have a lot of cloud cover around. If temperatures right now were 40 instead of 25, I would say, okay, maybe that's a little bit of a red flag for a low temperature forecast tonight. But given we are already at 25, you know, look, we're not going to have to drop a whole lot more before we have temperatures in the upper teens. And I think especially once the cloud cover breaks up a little bit more overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, temperatures really are going to plummet. And obviously we're bringing in the cold air. We call that cold air advection because of this strong wind that we have. Speaking of, I love it when I just have amazing transitions. 20-mile-per-hour winds right now for the wind gust in Austin. 24 in Bastrop. Burnett gusting to 23. Llano's gusting to 17. Fredericksburg is gusting to 23. So these winds, they're not as strong as what we had at this time yesterday. Obviously, right behind the front, we're gusting 30 plus. But it's enough that the feels like temperature, man, already these numbers are down to some very low values. If we didn't have what we have in the forecast, you know, this would be a huge headline, but they're going way colder than what we've got right now. 11, the feels like in Bastrop and Giddings right now. 11 in Georgetown, 16 in Austin, 14 in San Marcos. Burnett, you're about to be back in the single digits for wind chills. Wasn't long, 10. Fredericksburg feels like 13 right now. As I mentioned, that cloud cover, so here's the IR satellite, so it's a little bit tough to see. It looks a little wonky. This is why our forecast stayed so cold today. We thought it was going to be cold. I think I had like 35 in the forecast, but we got colder in the morning. Cloud cover locked in the cold, and we just didn't move. Again, we stayed in the 20s for many areas today, and now we've got this little appendage of cloud cover, which is kind of working down, but you can see this is clearing up here. So here's the clearing line into the Dallas area. So first this afternoon, it was kind of like clearing from west to east. Now we've got these clouds kind of coming down from north to south, but this is the 3-hour loop. So again, you can kind of do the math here. I think in, 3 to 4 hours especially, and this is thinner cloud cover than what we had earlier, but here in the next several hours as we get into the, early to later overnight hours, I think the cloud cover is going to break up, and that's just going to accelerate the warming. And again, we're already very cold. We're already colder than what many of the models are projecting. So with all of that in mind, here's my forecast again on the models for tonight. 18 degrees in Austin. That's the low temperature. As of now, the coldest we've been this winter was 20. That happened back in our January cold snap. I think we'll be colder than that. For the vast majority of our KVU area, this will be the coldest air of the winter. I believe that Llano one morning back in January actually went down to 12. So I guess technically for parts of the hill country, maybe the air temps are a little bit warmer. But again, the feels likes are just way colder this time around. There'll be some low 20s in the coastal plains. It's going to be all teens in the hill country. Again, I think as you get west of 281, where it's a clearer sky, especially out here, Gillespie into Mason County, we'll look at the LCRA data tonight and tomorrow morning. It would not surprise me. I don't want to say anything too crazy, but it wouldn't surprise me maybe if like an unofficial LCRA gauge made a run at the upper single digits tonight, if they can get that type of clearing going on later on tonight. So we'll be watching that closely. As we go into the afternoon tomorrow, we're going to have sunshine, so it's going to be very cold. It's still going to be brisk with that northeast wind, but we're going to get up above freezing. So that's going to be great. Not by much, and it's not going to be for a long stretch of time. Might only be for, like 1 to 3 hours, but 35 in the forecast for the high tomorrow in Austin, 36 in Bastrop, LaGrange, 37. some of these, even like Llano and Mason, I think will get above freezing Thursday afternoon. Maybe some of these colder pockets out here in Gillespie and Blanco County could stay below, but I think most of us will get a little bit of separation from freezing. And then we drop down again tomorrow night into Friday morning. So I've got 28 degrees in the forecast for Austin Friday morning. No weather impact alert for the morning of Friday. We'll pick them back up, though, Friday night as this freezing rain potential comes in. Just because this is, it's cold, obviously, but this is a little bit more manageable of a freeze. It is still going to be a hard freeze, though, with a low to mid-20s Friday morning in the hill country. Then as we go into Friday afternoon, we are just hovering. Honestly, I think these numbers are probably a little bit too warm. As the cloud cover comes in, I think it's going to be a struggle to get above freezing at all on Friday. I'm going to show you that data here in a second. Wind chills again on our model, just so we can kind of see how this plays out. Here's tomorrow morning. Wind chills, single digits everywhere. Dangerous cold. These numbers might even be a little bit conservative. Lower single digits. Couple degrees below zero will be a possibility. Then we warm up heading into the afternoon tomorrow slightly. Air temps will get mid-30s. Wind chills. The wind's not going to be nearly as strong, but still I think it's enough that our wind chills are likely going to stay in the 20s for your Thursday. Here's Thursday's hourly forecast. Obviously, we've got that really cold weather in the morning. Sunshine, that'll be nice after the cloud cover today. Hey, at least we get a little sun on the skin tomorrow. Well, I'll say that. Hopefully everything is covered tomorrow based on how cold it's going to be. Again, 35 degrees is in the forecast. Prior to lunch, we're still below freezing. We'll peak above by like 2 p.m. So we'll get 2, 3, 4, into like 5, and then, by 6, we're going to go back down below. So it's not long, but I think we'll be able to get briefly above freezing for tomorrow. All right, here's the area-wide forecast for Thursday. Again, all of these numbers are above freezing. Some of these like really rural spots out here in Blanco and Gillespie County maybe could stay at or below freezing. But I think for the vast majority of us, especially in the metro, it's going to be cold, but we will get things up a little bit above freezing. Here's a closer look at the I-35 corridor. Round Rock 36, Georgetown 36, Laga Vista 34, Lakeway 37, Wimberley 37. I'm so used to these type of numbers being like the overnight lows, but nope, these are the afternoon highs. All right, how much longer is this going to last? If you are a warm weather fan, hold on. You've got a couple more days. We're not there yet. But by Sunday, that's feeling a little better, 62. Average for this time of the year is 67, so we're still not to where what would be typical. And then Monday, next week looks really warm, looks beautiful, 74. For Monday, Tuesday is going to be, I think I've got like 77 in the forecast, and then Wednesday is going to be like 78 degrees. Some areas could hit 80. All right, before we get there, now let's get into kind of the next evolution of our forecast. I told you, I try to be fully transparent about this stuff. This has been, honestly, the past month, this has been just tricky forecasting. Very humbling, for sure. But the next thing we'll watch is freezing rain potential, which is coming in for Friday evening, Friday night into Saturday morning. So let's go through the latest data on that. All right, so here we go into Friday morning. First, it's going to be cloud cover. Now, look at temperatures. It's in the 20s in the hill country. It's in the low 30s along and east of I-35 by Friday morning. Kind of like what happened today. Clouds are going to come in, and it's going to keep us cold. We're not going to warm up. I have 33 in the forecast for Austin. I don't know that we really get above freezing at any point, though. On Friday, it's not like in the 20s like what it is today, but we're just not going to move very much at all. And then here we go by Friday evening. Okay, so here is 7 o'clock. And again, this one model run. Could this change drastically in the next update, which we're going to get in like an hour? It absolutely could. This is highly uncertain, but I have growing confidence in some sort of freezing rain, light freezing rain, or maybe some wintry mix. I think mainly it would be freezing rain and sleet and not snow, although it was fun to get a little bit of snow this morning. So here's 7 o'clock. Let's keep going. Here is 3 into 4 a.m. And at that point, again, this becomes a little bit more widespread. Is this necessarily like heavy? No, but this could be fairly widespread freezing drizzle, freezing rain, maybe some wintry mix with some sleet getting involved. So that's 4 a.m. Then we keep going through the day on Saturday. So here is 11:30. I believe this is a new model run too. So I actually want to see if I'm trying to see if we've got the evening data that has come in. So that's 11:30. I'm going to back out of this. As you can see, at that point, I do think Saturday, especially in Austin, is going to get above freezing. But meanwhile, in the hill country, it's still at or below. Okay, no, okay. So we have not gotten the new model data yet. So that is the last frame of our model run here. So let me show you this. Obviously, again, subject to change, all the usual disclaimers about uncertainty, but this isn't 7 days away. This is 2-3 days away from now. So even though it's uncertain, I'm just trying to give you an idea of what the impacts could look like. Here's the ice accumulation through noon on Saturday. Most of this is pretty light. Anywhere from a glaze to a tenth of an inch. What does that mean? It means like a little bit of light icing on your car. Maybe a few, elevated surfaces get a little bit slick. So that would be like that light pink area, and that's generally what it's got for a lot of us. But could there be pockets where you start to get into that darker pinks? That'd be a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. That is where travel gets a little bit more dicey. You start to see some icing up in the trees and stuff. Not huge power outages, but you start to see it. Then as soon as you start to get a quarter inch plus, that's when impacts get a little bit more significant. Again, is there a ton of that? No, but could there be some in parts of the hill country? Maybe. Again, this data is going to change, but overall, my confidence in some sort of at least light icing or some sort of wintry mix with sleet or freezing rain involved, my confidence in this is going up. And again, I don't want to speculate here, but we're a couple of days away. So I know there's uncertainty in the forecast, but at some point, we've got to make a call. We've got to start, preparing for this. And my confidence is going up a little bit. At 10 o'clock, we're going to have some new data. So at that point, hopefully, I don't want this to happen, but hopefully at that point, at least our confidence either way is going higher. But I have gone ahead, issued a weather impact alert for this freezing rain risk. Again, just understand high uncertainty. This is going to be Friday evening into Saturday morning. Potential for freezing rain, maybe some sleet and light icing, especially on elevated roads. Do I think this is going to be a repeat of what happened in January 2023 where we had, upwards of 2/3 an inch of freezing rain? I don't think that. I don't think we have that type of precipitation. It takes a lot of precipitation to get that much icing. But do I think there could be some slick spots on bridges and elevated roads and maybe some light icing in the trees? I do. I do think that's possible. High uncertainty, monitor the forecast. We'll get through tonight. We'll get through this coldest air of the winter. Then we'll really start to focus in on this. So I'm going to have much more to come on that part of our forecast here over the next couple of days. Here is our 7-day forecast. Okay, so weather impact alert. We've got a couple of them. Tonight through tomorrow morning, 18 in Austin, coldest air of the winter, 35 for the afternoon high, back down to a lighter freeze Friday morning, then another weather impact alert for that freezing rain potential, which is going to start Friday evening, continue Friday night, and continue through at least the first part of the day on Saturday, especially into the hill country. Light icing and some travel impacts will be possible. The odds of precipitation have gone up some. Again, 30% for the evening Friday. That will go up to like a 50% for Friday night into Saturday, and it might go up even more once we start to get higher confidence. Still, there could be some rain around Saturday night into early Sunday. At that point, you can see temperatures for most, I think, will be above freezing, so that'd be just rain. 20% early Sunday, high of 62 and clearing by Sunday afternoon. Then Monday, that's more like it. The morning's still a touch on the chilly side, but that's going to feel, like August compared to where we've been. 74 for the afternoon high. Tuesday, 77. Wednesday, 78 degrees is what we have in the forecast. So that's the 7-day. It's a pretty wacky one from 18 to 78, but it's Texas in February. So wouldn't expect anything less. All right, so let me kind of check on things over here. I believe we have covered everything. I'm looking at the Facebook comments. Everybody is saying, make this go away. I am tired of winter. Madison on Facebook is asking, will my flight take off Friday morning? I think Friday morning you're going to be fine. Again, it's like the evening into Friday night when things start to ramp up. So I think it'll be okay for your flight Friday morning. All right, so with all of that checked off, I'm going to sign off. We appreciate everybody joining us here on KVU Plus, on our KVU YouTube page, on Facebook, everybody joining in with us. Again, y'all stay safe in this cold tonight. This is our coldest air of the winter, which is going to be tonight into tomorrow morning, upper teens, wind chills in the single digits. And then once we come into the office tomorrow, we'll shift gears. We'll start talking about freezing rain and wintry precip potential. So y'all have a good night. Next update from me will be KVU News at 10 o'clock. I will see you then.